Hello, friends. I'm Ron Knepper.
And I'm Craig Knepper, and we're here today to talk all about
Knepper Tractors. If you're watching this video, you might be interested to learn about these custom-made tractors and maybe some of the Knepper history behind them. We hope you find this video both entertaining and informative. Knepper tractors were built throughout the 1950s and the 1960s by Miles Knepper in Somerset County in the town of Kingwood, Pennsylvania. Miles Knepper was my father, and I am the oldest of his 5 children. Miles was a Christian man who took his faith seriously. He was a member of the Somerset Alliance Church, where he served on the church governing board. His priorities were serving God, his church, and his family.
Miles was my grandfather. He was born in March of 1920 and passed away at the age of 80 in May of 2000. Miles worked for the Pennsylvania Fish Commission for 16 years as a deputy and waterways patrolman. He was a member of the Rockwood Area School Board and the Carpenters Union. He was a government certified welder and often worked on large construction projects like welding bridges in Pittsburgh. He was also an avid fisherman and hunter. Miles only had an 8th grade formal education, but he had a very creative engineering mind. He knew early in life he wanted a career outside of farming and decided to pursue ways he could use his metalworking skills.
Miles built, owned, and operated the Kingwood Welding Shop. We are talking to you today from that very location. This welding shop is located directly across the street from the home where I grew up and is where he built the Knepper Tractors. I remember helping my dad build these tractors, and I assisted with welding and fabricating them. In those days, tractors were primarily made by major brands like John Deere, International Harvester, Alice Chalmers, or Ford. And these tractors were typically big in design for working large farm fields. There were only a few small tractor makers in the 1950s. Some local neighbors asked Miles if he knew where they could find a smaller tractor, something they could use around their home and gardens. And Miles answered, "I'm not sure where to buy one, but I bet I could build one." That set him up on a path to create his own Knepper tractor design. And it took a couple years to develop and perfect his approach. But once he had figured it out, he repeated the process for many years. And as one customer purchased a tractor, Miles would start on the next one. It wouldn't take long before that one would sell, and he would begin again. Miles didn't advertise them, just word of mouth, or someone driving by the weld shop would see one sitting out front. He made them in his spare time and would only have enough time to produce around 2 tractors each year. Family members believe there may have been 20 tractors that he built.
Some of the major components that Miles used to build these tractors were made from durable and readily available automotive parts. One example is the rear end. Miles liked the rear axle, the rear differential, the wheels, and drum braking system made by Ford Motor Company. This rear end was used in models like the Ford Deluxe, the Super Deluxe, and half-ton pickup trucks that were produced between 1937 and 1948. They were made to handle the power and torque from a V8 engine and would service his small tractor very well. Miles would go to his local junkyard and find a vehicle that he could salvage these parts and use them for his next tractor build. This Ford rear end is often referred to as a banjo style due to its circular and symmetrical shape. Miles saw this banjo design as an attractive feature. Because of its round design, he could easily hold it in his lathe for modification. He would narrow the axle by removing 20 inches from the overall length and re-weld to create the tractor width that he desired.
Miles also liked the compact size of the 3-speed manual transmission that Chevrolet used between 1937 and 1939. This transmission was used in the Chevy Master, Master Deluxe, the Coupe, sedan, station wagon, and pickup truck. It had 3 forward speeds and 1 reverse gear in an H configuration. Because of its compact size, Miles was able to fabricate a way to combine it with the forward rear end and share a common lubrication method. Miles would salvage his transmission and an automotive steering gear from his local salvage yard.
With each new tractor build, Miles would go to Bender's hardware store in Somerset and purchase a brand new Briggs & Stratton Model 23 gas-powered 9-horsepower motor. This was his motor of choice and used on every Knepper tractor. A 6-to-1 gear reducer was offered as an option for this Briggs motor. Miles must have found this would be a good way to power his tractor directly from the output shaft without having to reduce speed with bull gears at the rear axle like other tractors at the time did. The motor had enough horsepower for the task, and the included reducer allowed the engine to provide just the right combination of speed and torque for this small tractor. We can often tell what year a Knepper tractor was built based on the serial number found on the motor that he used.
My dad would then purchase a new Cub Cadet seat, steering wheel, and front wheels, and these were also readily available at his local hardware store and used on every tractor build. And from this point on, everything else was fabricated. Miles was an excellent welder, and it is very obvious if someone added to their tractor when you compare the quality of the welds. The main frame of the tractor was made from solid steel welded construction. The steering mechanism was fully fabricated to allow a tight turning radius. The rear brakes were fashioned independently so that you could engage the right or the left brakes separately. A simple V-belt tightener clutch design was developed to remove tension from the main drive belt when shifting gears. A variety of front engine guard designs were made over the years. Some early models used an open design made of formed and welded bar stock. Others were made with a solid protective hood with a hinged lid. Lastly, every tractor was painted International Harvester red. This was his favorite color, and Miles used it to paint every tractor he made.
Over the years, Miles evolved his design. He upgraded the original pull rope to an electric start. He updated the brake system from cables to mechanical linkages. And he changed the position of the pedals and updated the bar stock footrests to much larger tread plates. Some Knepper tractor owners have kept their tractor in its original vintage condition, showing its age and original paint. Others have updated, repainted them, or added a battery and electric start. Over the years, the Knepper tractors that my family owns have been further improved by my dad and my brothers. The work ethic and hands-on skill that Miles had was passed on to his children, all of whom are retired and still living at the time we are filming this video. My dad shares the same passion his father had for metalworking and became a skilled CAD designer and metal fabricator. He built his own metal workshop in 1980, where he's designed and built hundreds of projects for his work, his family, and his local community. Even now, as a retiree, he volunteers his time and talent to many local causes. And he's focused some of his energy on making improvements to the Knepper tractors. He's developed a simplified front end concept to incorporate a strong protective bumper and a smaller belt guard to shield the moving parts. He also enhanced the braking system that Miles started by making it a little easier to use and a little more robust. Ron also made various battery compartments, control layouts, tool storage, and mechanized attachments.
Many implements have been used with these Knepper tractors. Miles built his own tractor implements, and he devised a rear grab handle that would allow the tractor driver to raise or lower these implements as needed while seated. Upon request, Miles would provide a custom snow plow or even make a custom front-powered mowing deck. In fact, for one customer, Pittsburgh Plate and Glass, referenced as PPG, a riding mower was needed that could handle mowing grass along a steep embankment. Legend has it many riding mowers were tried, but the Neper tractor was the only one that could handle the task. For another customer, Miles created a custom trailer to carry visitors from their cabins to go boating on the Occoquan River. Over the years, many snowplows and snowblowers were added to the front, and many ground plows, tills, harrows, and wagons were attached to the rear. Anything a small garden tractor could be used for, the Neper tractor could meet the need.
Knepper tractors are truly something special. They represent a heritage of ingenuity and craftsmanship that my grandfather Miles and my father Ron and many others in the Knepper family and people in our community represent. My brothers Kurt, Chad, and Chris Knepper and I are now adults with our own families, and we all have engineering professions and love to create and build. I believe much of our talent and work ethic, whether by nature or nurture, came from our parents and our grandparents. And I praise God for the faith that was demonstrated and the example of hard work, creativity, and perseverance that was shown to us as young men.
Family members believe there may have been over 20 Neper tractors built. Only 10 of them, about half, have been found at the time we are releasing this video. Many family, friends, and tractor enthusiasts would love to learn if there are other Neper tractors out there. So if you are watching this video and know where others might be, we would love to hear from you. And if you have any clues, heard of any stories, or know the whereabouts of other Neper tractors, no matter what their current condition, please contact us using the information below this video. We would love to talk to you and hear your story. Thank you for listening. Now let's get off of your phones and go build something.